The word multi-passion is technically supposed to be an amazing word, right? We're multi-passionate. That means we don't lack passion. We don't get bored usually, right? Because we have multiple things we're passionate about, always working on, assuming we actually follow through with our passions and we do something with that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up today is I have actually been taught and told and reminded time and time again throughout my lifetime that this is a bad thing. Maybe not everyone calls it bad, but there are things, right, that are said that points in the direction of multi-passionate being ADHD, ADD, non-committal, can't make up your mind, a dabbler, wishy-washy. And I know for a fact that I am nothing close to being wishy-washy or non-committal, right? If you know me, I'm someone that's very intense, goal-driven, and multi-passionate. So if you know me, all my friends will tell you that I'm someone that when I set my mind to something, I do it. It just so happens to be that I'm passionate about multiple things. And I always have been. But at the same time, I've been battling, right? I've been battling with who I am, like at the core. Someone that has so many interests from like traveling, music, being able to inspire others to live a passionate life, doing what's authentic to them. And being the walking example of that, right? But because being someone that literally has been the black sheep of her family her entire life, right? Choosing a job that was like not what was expected of me, right? Like I chose a job like out of college. Like I dropped out of college. I dropped out of UC Davis, but there's so many more black sheepy things that led up to, let's say, my career choices, right? Chose an internship that was all about performance-based pay, right? It wasn't whatever the minimum wage was. It wasn't $10 an hour. It was more of like you can earn $1 an hour depending on how you do, or $35, $40 an hour, right? It was very much incentive and performance-based. But I've always kind of gravitated towards that because I don't believe in the rat race. I don't believe in like just pushing papers. I didn't want to do that type of internship. And so that opened up my mind, right? Doing college works, right? When I was in college, opened up my mind to the possibility of, oh, what's it like to do business? What's it like to be an entrepreneur? And that really gave me the curiosity and the confidence to decide that my career path was going to be in business, entrepreneurship, and leadership. And so after that, I decided to work for like a medium-sized company, but one that I was going to have a lot of say in, one that was going to allow me to excel like faster than climbing the typical ladder, right? The typical ladder. And so I did that, which also was a lower paying job, but with much higher incentives to make more and to get faster promotions. And so after that, I was like, okay, I really want to take a stab at doing the whole solo thing, right? And so I started solo as in not working for the man. So I started Neon Owl with my brother, which is all about connecting people through music and charity. It's all about going to festivals, but bringing the party for a purpose to it. It was all about working with DJs, but leveraging their influence and other entrepreneurs' influence to talk about causes that mattered to them. People that wanted to give back, but maybe didn't know how. Like we created that vehicle, that outlet for them. Created amazing fan experiences with their favorite artists. And so after doing that, I was like, okay, like I also wanted to, at the same time, start my coaching business because I was already doing social media for small businesses and for individuals. And I was like, I like the social media part, but it's more fun for me to manage my own social media. I don't necessarily care about managing other people's social media. And so I was like, okay, let me work with other people that have this fire and this passion inside them to make a change. Someone else that has a business idea and they already quit their 6-figure job and they went all in, or maybe they haven't. They're looking to gain the confidence to build this up while still having that stability. Either way, I was like, I am passionate about working with people that want to make a difference in this world. So came the coaching business, right? And like, it was always one thing after another. And it didn't mean I was a jumper, I was a hopper. It wasn't like, okay, I started Neon Out because I want to make a difference in this world through music, the universal language that connects us all. It was, I love this. I love the music industry. I love festivals, but is this all I want to do for the rest of my life and the only way I want to make a difference? The answer is no. The answer is no. I want to make a difference this way. I love the music industry, and there's also things I don't love about it. Yeah, it's I love what music does to bring us all together, but can't say I super love staying out till 5 a.m. Can't say I super love like some of the things I see behind the scenes or backstage. And in any industry, I'm sure there's shit you don't love. It's not just the music industry. Like, there's gonna be things like politics, drugs, partying. Not saying that's bad, not judging that either. I've done my share of partying. But I also really love like the personal development world. I've always loved like entrepreneurship, just like self-improvement. And some of those things just didn't align. So I was like, okay, I can keep my music industry charity thing, but I also really want to, I've always been addicted to like the idea of being a morning person, someone that doesn't go to bed at 5. I'm not promoting going to bed at 5 and waking up at 7. I've always like dreamt of like going to bed at a decent hour, like midnight, and then waking up like bright and early. And I'm not a morning person, guys, but like 7, fully rested, ready to take on my day. And they seem to be two different worlds, you know, and I've definitely done a lot to try to mesh those two worlds. Like, it's not that music industry, entertainment industry doesn't mesh with personal development world, but there are also like differences as well, right? Like my coaching business and my music industry side. There's similarities, but different enough to where I feel like I want to do something that's completely like out of the music industry as well. And, you know, as I built that coaching business and kept hosting my event in the music industry, like I was feeling like so much of my energy was being spent on my coaching clients. Because when you're working with someone as a coach or a mentor or on their brand, it's not just the marketing, it's not just the storytelling, it's not just the social media, it's not just the branding, it's taking on someone's energy and like you're holding a lot of that, right? A lot of their emotions. You're holding a lot of like their insecurities, right? Because when someone trusts you enough to work with them on their brand and share their vision and the positives, the ups, the downs, the lack of belief, the nerds, the self beat up, all the conversations, and I know because I have been there, it's a lot to take on. So working with 7 to 10 clients is a lot. It's draining, and it took me a while. I was loving it for a good amount of years. I was like, wow, I make money off of helping people turn their dreams or their vision, their blurry vision, into something tangible, into launching something that they're passionate about, their passion projects, right? And eventually it took a toll on me, like emotionally. And I was like, okay, at first I was so excited that I created a life where I'm able to travel the world, work from my computer, take calls on Zoom or Skype or FaceTime. And I was happy for a long time. But we evolve as human beings, and what served us before oftentimes will no longer serve us 1, 3, 5 years down the line. And now I've been on this journey of entrepreneurship and not working for the man for 6 years, on my 6th year. And I've gone through many pivots and many moments where it's like, my vision is still the same. My purpose in life is still the same. It's to create a positive impact. It's to inspire people to go after their passions and make a difference doing what they love. That could be anything, right? That could be you trying to support like women that's gone through violence. That could be you trying to save the arts, right? Like, because arts is just as important as history and math and science. At least I believe so. That could be whatever it is your impact is. But I was like, if I'm going to impact millions and billions of people during and beyond my lifetime, this is not necessarily the sustainable way, like working with one-on-one clients. But it took me doing that. It's not like, oh, I know this is not going to work out. It's like, no, it worked. But what's the next elevation? And sometimes you don't need that next elevation, right? Maybe you're happy with that, just having that business. But I knew deep within that I wasn't. And I knew that deep within, the energy it was taking on me while I was running my own other businesses, it wasn't scalable and sustainable. You know, I found myself like literally in my favorite place, one of my top destinations to visit. I was in Argentina, not on vacation. I was on a workcation where it was definitely more work than play. And I'm like, did I leave working for the man to create a life where I'm always putting myself through the stress of hosting events, creating charity shows, charity events, this and that, right? Like that part is very much in the giving, right? Neon Owls, giving back, charity, artists, whatever. And then I created this other business, coaching. I'm constantly giving my energy to support people in building their visions, which is great. But I had to come, like come to Jesus moment was like, this isn't what serves me anymore. Like my soul and how I want to grow my business and my legacy. And sometimes I think we feel the pressure of society or our parents. I'll say my parents, first generation Chinese American here. We feel the pressure to commit. And let me get this straight. I am 125% about committing to the things you decide to do. But here's the thing. I am not a believer in committing come hell or high water no matter what if something doesn't feel in alignment with you anymore. We as humans change. Our desires, our paths change. And if we're gonna keep growing, we get to keep adapting and adjusting and changing with that. It doesn't mean that the core of who we are changes. It doesn't mean that our life path and life mission and goal changes. It can. For me, it hasn't. But it's okay to be malleable and allow for the vehicle to change. It's okay to admit that this is not how I want to build and grow my business anymore. This is not how I want to make my money anymore, because I feel that I can only make X amount of money. And money, if you watch my other video, was something I thought was evil before. Then I was like, no, it's not evil. Money enables us to do a lot. Money itself is not good or evil. It's what we do with it. And so in the last recent years, I realized money is an enabler. It's just, what do you enable it to do for you and your mission in this world? And so I was like, how am I going to live abundantly because also I know I've had many of these conversations when oftentimes when we say we don't want money, oftentimes when we say we're gonna leave our 6-figure job to save the world and not care about money, sure, maybe some of us really don't care about it, but I will have to say most of us have a bad relationship with it. A scarcity conversation. We're taught to see money in a certain way. So when I finally broke through that, and I continue to have breakthroughs all the time, is I realized I have such a bad relationship with money because of how I was raised. It's either like you do this because it's money that matters. It's not impact, it's not charity, it's not this volunteer crap. So I was taught that, and growing up, I did not grow up in a family that was well off, by the way. So there's all these negative conversations with money that I really had to realign my own self-worth. Is my coaching worth money? Yes. So why the F are you rejecting money? Like, is the services that you're offering people, your community, the music community, other nonprofits, is what you're creating of value? Yes. So don't view money as a negative thing, because at the end of the day, it's a self-worth thing. That was a little side tangent, but the point of that is I got tired of the way that I was making money. And even though I wasn't in the rat race, the corporate rat race, I was in my own little hamster wheel rat race with myself. And I'm like, okay, how do I continue to be true to myself, continue to go after my passions, and excel in impact and abundance? Abundance, aka money, and abundance in time and freedom. And I realized what just wasn't working, what didn't feel right to me anymore. And I had to be honest with that, right? Like, I would say something I've been very good at is I always listen to like my heart. I follow my gut and what feels right. What is my true north in this moment? It's still to make the difference, but through what vehicles? And so when I came to that like moment a little over a year ago, I was like, I've been so tied to like all the little voices inside my head been fed to me throughout my, let's say, 30 plus years of living, is I became so attached to now that I quit my job, so I better succeed at whatever it is that I chose to do when I quit my job. Neon Owl, coaching. And I was not allowing myself to see that I'm not a one-trick pony. I'm not a single passion woman. I'm not a one project girl, if that makes sense. I am a multi-passionate human being that gets so lit up and fired up with the abundance of ideas that I have. And they're not just ideas, they're things that like light me up. And I feel so blessed to have that, because I know a lot of people struggle to find their passion, and I have no shortage in passion. And for the longest time, I didn't want to acknowledge that how I want to live my life and create my wealth and my legacy is through my multiple passions. I didn't want to admit, I didn't want to look at the fact that I always wanted to have multiple businesses. I've always wanted to have multiple streams of income, but I was so afraid of being judged. Well, first off, by my parents saying, "What are you doing now? What business are you launching today? When are you going to settle down and do what you're supposed to do? Hello, you're 32. When I was 32, you were already 5 years old and your brother was 3. What are you doing with your life, unmarried and like moving around and traveling the world, and now you're moving back to New York from California?" So the list goes on, right? So even though I have not allowed for their judgment of me to dictate the big decisions I make in life, aka clearly moved, aka clearly pursued the life of entrepreneurship, aka clearly traveled to all sorts of places in the world by myself, clearly dyed my hair, clearly have my tattoos, clearly dating a non-Chinese. But I've still allowed those voices like sabotage my decisions. And further than that, like everything society tells us we're supposed to do. And further than that, even though I have many different types of friends, I have my friends that think I'm totally crazy, but they still support me. And I have my friends that are entrepreneurs, but most of them do have their one thing. So being in masterminds and being in these entrepreneurship groups, the feedback I get often is like, I admire your multi-passionate self. But Elaine, had you ever thought about what the level of success you could achieve and the money you can make if you just channeled all your amazing fireball of energy into one thing? Shit. There's books called The One Thing, and like there's all these things, right? Like I am a big consumer of personal development, and even within my own peers, the feedback I get is, I love that you can do 10 things, and imagine what you can do with one if you focused all your energy and turned it into one passion project, one business, one thing. And I tried like condensing my multiple passions into 2 things. It didn't work. I wanted to like die. You just feel like so suffocated. And for those of you guys watching, let me know if there's anyone out there like me, or am I just a psychopath? And it literally took me 32 years to figure out I am not a one thing girl. I am a 5 things girl. I could be a 50 things girl, but I'm already just like honing in on my core 5. And so this last year I decided to say fuck it. I parted ways with some of my one-on-one clients, decided to like just take my eat, pray, love year and take some time for myself. I decided to just recharge and actually think about what makes me happy and how do I want to make my money and how do I want to live my life? What makes me feel free and creative and liberated and feeling like I am aligned and true to myself? And I was like, multiple passion projects, multiple businesses. So I launched my greeting cards company recently, even though some are like, oh, like, are you sure? Like, what's this thing? And I'm like, I've always wanted a product business. I was like, I'm spreading positivity and impact. We're donating to charities through this community that we've built online, right? It's an idea, it's a way of life. I'm coaching people, so yes, I'm making a difference that way too, but I've always wanted tangible products. I love greeting cards. I've been a huge collector. I just happen to have these. These are my greeting cards, by the way. I've been a huge collector of cards like my whole life. I would just buy them. Wherever I go. Doesn't matter if I'm at the local store or I'm traveling out of state, out of country. I'm always that person that buys greeting cards and planners and notebooks and books and like calendars for myself, even though I do not. One person needs 1 calendar a year, but I have 10. But it brings me joy. It supports me in planning better. It brings me joy to gift that to someone. Even if this inspirational quote on this card has no recipient, I know someone is gonna make me want to give them that one day, whether that's a year from now or 3 years from now. And so I've always wanted to have a greeting cards company, and I bought so many domains for it like 5 years ago, but I decided to start Neon Owl instead, right? And then my coaching business. So I finally decided, you know what, F it. I'm gonna create this because these can go all over the world, to Japan, Australia, Canada, all over the US, freaking Europe. And that's how I'm going to spread joy. And that's going to be a part of what I leave behind, right? These trails of cards and cute stationery all over the world. And so I decided to do it, even though I was like, oh shit, like it's another thing. But who the hell cares if someone's like, what are you starting now? It's not in a negative way, although sometimes it's like, what? What are you starting again? Like, how many more businesses can you have? And sometimes it's like, wow, what are you starting again now? So I'm like, but who the hell cares what my parents think or what my peers think or what this stranger thinks? Because it's my time, it's my passion, it's my money, it's my hours, it's my stress, and it's my rewards. And shortly after that, I started working on it late last year and launched it during COVID. Shortly after that, I started my skincare business with Roden and Fields. I am obsessed with skin because I used to have horrible acne, literally all over my face, would not leave the house without makeup. And so I've always been into skin and skincare. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on it. And 3 years ago, I discovered Roden and Fields. I was introduced to it and I've been obsessed with those products since. And I still buy other products, of course, but I have been obsessed with like the serum and then the lash boost. I tried all these different products and I was like, when I saw the lash boost, I was like, you know what? Skin is always in. People have skin, whether that's they have skin issues, whether that's just dryness, acne, marks, aging, which we're all going to go through. And I was like, dang, should I start this Roden and Fields business after being a customer for 3 years and saying no? And Sergio, my partner, was the one that was like, look, you seem to be really into the products, so if you want to give it a go, I have no doubt that you'll succeed at it. And I was like, all right, F it, let's do it. And so it's something I'm passionate about. But for the longest time, I didn't start it because I was hella busy. But I had just a little bit more time with COVID since I can't go see people and hang out with people and do my usual whatever I do. And so I was like, okay, this is a very super digital virtual business where I don't have to touch the products. I don't need to do anything technically, but it's just something I already use, I promote, I'm passionate about, and people need. So I was like, F it. Who the hell cares? I'm going in. And I've been happy. I'll say this. For a little while now, it's something I think we don't like to admit, but I've been really just transparent, which is, I think we like to put together this facade of everything's good, whatsoever, everything's great, business is great, like everything's great. And maybe some areas are great, but oftentimes we're not transparent enough about all the areas in our lives. Maybe money's great, but is fulfillment great? Maybe money and fulfillment's great, but how are your relationships? Maybe all those three are great, but how's your health? Are you working like a dog and not sleeping, not eating, stressed, right? So there's so many different things. And I feel like this last year, I finally started to take inventory of my life and the different areas in my life. And that's after going through my personal development journey for years now. I think what really made me take a look is like, I always felt that I was going to be this like one woman show, traveling the world on her laptop, working her businesses. Life is good. I make my own shit and I take care of myself and my family. But I think there was this like limiting belief that I could also have a relationship. And this all ties back together because finally that I saw that it's possible to have like my dreams, and my career, my independence, and a loving partner and a healthy communicative relationship was really when I started to take a look at what is valuable to me in life, because relationship was definitely not on the top of that list before. It was like, okay, my career, make money, travel, my family, blah, 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 my freedom. But now it's like, oh shit, I value relationship too. And maybe for the first time, I'm like, one day I'll have a family. didn't see that as possible. That was always my blind spot, my sweep under the rug spot. And so when I started taking inventory of like what a balanced, or some would say a harmonized, right, different areas of your life working in harmony, what that looks like, I was like, I don't think I want to work like a dog, even if it's for my own business for forever. I don't think I want to be at my top destination that I want to travel to, that's been on my list for 5 years, and be working on Zoom and Skype. So what's going to allow for me to do that? For some people, it might be going in on their one thing and then being able to step away from the business. Because I can agree that they will get there sooner than I will, most likely, if I have 5 things, right? Because if you're focused on one thing, you're probably going to hit your 10,000 hours sooner. You're probably going to hit your hurdles sooner. You're going to figure out your solution sooner, and you're going to be able to scale faster. But I've accepted the fact that that's not me. I want to diversify my interests. I don't even want to, I just automatically do. It's who I am. I want to diversify my streams of income. Hence, Neon Owl, coaching business, my content, my brand, hence my greeting cards, hence my skincare company. That feels in alignment to me. So Elaine, wake up, stop letting what your parents told you, what society told you, what your peers tell you, and just go with it. If you have the bandwidth and the energy and the passion and the wait, I said energy already. If you have the passion and the desire to do that, effing do it. That's been bringing me joy and happiness. And you know what? I've been like coming to this realization for about a year now, but it really came full circle when COVID hit, guys. I was already working on my greeting cards company. It was like about to launch, and people were like, maybe you shouldn't launch it. And I was like, F it, I don't care, I'm gonna launch it. So I was already like diversifying. I was already having my Eat, Pray, Love year, right? Which was, here are all my different things. I'm gonna work on all of them. But then COVID really hit, and then the quarantine. And I was like, oh. And then not everyone, but a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of businesses took a hit. Some are thriving, but most took a hit. And now I'm like, ew, I definitely value diversification even more now. I didn't see COVID coming, right? Like, I didn't see the music industry taking a dump. I didn't see my branding, marketing clients struggling in their businesses to make payroll, let alone talk about marketing dollars, right? I didn't see any of those things coming, but they did. So I was like, okay, I feel like, Elaine, you've been resisting all this and restructuring and like taking 5 steps back, right? To like scale back before you scale big. But here it is. Let me dump COVID on you. Let me dump the quarantine on you. Let me dump this worldwide pandemic on you and everything else. And I've been very grateful. I've been very happy. And I feel like a lot of people are in a panic. And I was one of those people towards the beginning of COVID. But now I feel so blessed and abundant that I have my multiple projects to work on. And it feels a little bit like, oh shit. What is this? Is this climbing or is this swimming? Either way, I can't climb and I can't swim. So whatever this is, I'm doing it. And I couldn't be more grateful, because in this moment, diversification is the way to go. But let's just put COVID aside even. We aren't meant to fit in boxes, but we're taught to do so, right? We're taught to fit into a effing box. And I don't believe in that. And so if you've been told that you're supposed to do one thing, go to school, get a good job, get your stupid white picket fence house, get a nice car, get married by a certain age, have kids by a certain age, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't feel in alignment with you and your job and your career choice that you're forced like into doesn't feel in alignment with you, F it. Doesn't matter. Yes, some people tell, oh, but you did this when you were 20 something, so it's easy for you, but I'm 40 now. No, I've seen way older people in their 60s and 70s say F it. Because the worst thing is living with the regret of not having truly gone after the things you're passionate about, but really following some dumb path that was laid out by who knows who. And that's it. That's what I want to share today. I feel very passionate to share about this because in society, people who are multi-passionate are viewed as, yes, in some way, like great, right? Like a unicorn. But in some ways, they're viewed as non-committal, won't achieve success, hoppers, or whatever. Well, I'm here to like prove that wrong. So if anyone out there watching has multiple passions, like don't be made to feel like you're wrong or that that's not the right path. Play around with it and see what happens. Maybe you'll achieve success with all of them, but maybe you won't. Maybe you'll achieve success with one of them or two of them. But guess what? There's options. And guess what? The next time a effing pandemic like this hits, maybe you won't feel so screwed because you just went all in on that one thing. I'm not saying the one thing is bad, but I'm saying COVID is the perfect wake-up call to diversification can be great. FYI. I'm complete. That is my rant / topic of the day. Diversification is good. Multi-passionate is not a bad word. It's a great word. End of story. If you haven't liked and subscribed, make sure you do. Check out my other videos and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.